Jnanakosha, Vedas, Samavedam, by pact. Jnanakosha, a Sastrapedia of Vedic knowledge, Upanishads, Samaveda based Upanishads.
ओम गणानां त्वा गणपतिगं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपवज्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणान् ब्रह्मणस्पतकान् शृण्वन्नोतिभिः
Samaveda based Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad, 6th chapter. This chapter contains one of the more important metaphysical messages of this Upanishad. It contains the Mahavakya Tattvam Asi, that art thou. This chapter also establishes the principle of Atman through a dialogue between Uddalaka and his son Svetakatu. Many metaphors such as the illustration of curd and butter, banyan tree and its seed, rivers, ocean, etc. are given to illustrate the concept of Atman. Within this dialogue, the theory of being arising from non-being is refuted. Om, once upon a time there was one Svetakatu, the grandson of Aruna. His father said to him, O Svetakatu, live the life of a brahmacharin. Dear boy, there never is any one in our family who does not study and is only nominally a Brahman. Having gone to the teacher's house when 12 years old, he came back when he was 24 old. Having studied all the Vedas, conceited, arrogant, and regarding himself as very learned, his father said to him, Svetakatu, dear boy, you and I are conceited, arrogant, regarding yourself as very learned. Did you ask for the teaching about the Supreme Brahman, through which what is unheard becomes heard, what is unthought becomes thought of, what is unknown becomes known? Of what nature, revered sir, is that teaching? Dear boy, just as through a single clod of clay all that is made of clay would become known, for all modifications is but name based upon words, and the clay alone is real. Dear boy, just as through a single ingot of gold all that is made of gold would become known, for all modification is but name based upon words, and the gold alone is real. Dear boy, just as through a single nail parar all that is made of iron would become known, for all modification is but name based upon words, and the iron alone is real. Such, dear boy, is that teaching. Surely my revered teacher did not know it, for if they had known, why should they not have told it to me? However, revered father, teaching it to me, be it so, dear boy, said the father. In the beginning, dear boy, this was being alone, one only without a second. Some say that in the beginning this was non-being alone, one only without a second. From that non-being arose being. Aruni said, but now indeed, dear boy, could it be so? How could being arise from non-being? In truth, dear boy, in the beginning, before creation, there was being alone, one only, without a second. That being willed, may I become many, may I grow forth. It created fire, that fire willed. May I become many, may I grow forth. It created water. Therefore, whenever a man grieves or perspires, then it is from fire that water issues. That water willed, may I become many, may I grow forth. It created food. Therefore, whatever it rains, abundant food grows there. It is from water that food for eating is produced. Of the aforesaid beings, There are only three origins: those born from eggs, born from living beings, and born from sprouts. That deity willed, well, let me, entering into these three deities through this living self, Jivatman, differentiate name and form. Of these let me make each one triplicated. Willing thus this deity entered into these three deities through this living self and differential names and forms. It made each one of them threefold. But, dear boy, how each of these three deities becomes threefold? Outside the body, know that from me. In fire, the red color is the color of fire. That which is white belongs to water, and that which is black belongs to food. Thus vanishes the idea of the quality of fire from fire, for all modification is but name based upon words, only the three forms are real. In the sun, the red color is the color of fire, that which is white belongs to water, and that which is black belongs to earth. Thus vanishes the idea of the quality of the sun from the sun, for all modification is but name based upon words, only the three forms are real. In the moon, the red color is the color of fire, that which is white belongs to water, and that which is black belongs to earth. Thus vanishes the quality of the moon from the moon, for all modification is but name based upon words, only the three forms are real. In lightning, the red color is the color of fire, that which is white belongs to water, and that which is black belongs to earth. Thus vanishes the idea of the quality of lightning from lightning, for all modification is but name based upon words, only the three forms are real. It was indeed on knowing this triplication that the ancient great householders and great Vedic scholars said, there is at present nothing that anyone would point out to us as unheard, unthought, or unknown, for from these they understood everything. Whatever else appeared red, that also they knew to be the color of untriplicated fire. Whatever appeared white, that also they knew to be the color of water. Whatever appeared black, that also they knew to be the color of earth. Whatever appeared to be unknown, that also they knew to be a combination of these very deities. But, dear boy, know from me how on reaching man each of these three deities becomes threefold. Food, when eaten, becomes divided into three parts. What is its grossest ingredient and becomes facious? What is the middling ingredient that becomes flesh? And what is the subtlest ingredient that becomes mind? Water, when drunk, becomes divided into three parts. What is its greatest ingredient that becomes urine? What is the middling ingredient that becomes blood? And what is the subtlest ingredient that becomes prana? Fire, when eaten, becomes divided into three parts. What is its grossest ingredient that becomes bone? What is the middling ingredient that becomes marrow? And what is the subtlest ingredient that becomes speech? Hence, dear boy, mind is made up of food, prana is made up of water, and speech is made of fire. Explain it further to me, revered sir. Be it so, dear boy, said the father. Dear boy, of the curd that is being churned, that which is the sublet part rises towards, and that becomes butter. So also, dear boy, of the food that is eaten, that which is the sublet part rises upwards, and that becomes the mind. Dear boy, of the water that is drunk, that which is the sublet part rises upwards, and that becomes prana. Dear boy, of the fire that is eaten, that which is the sublet part rises upwards, and that becomes speech. Hence, dear boy, mind is made up of food, prana is made up of water, and speech is made up of fire. Explain it further to me, reverend sir. Be it so, dear boy, said the father. Dear boy, man consists of 16 parts. Do not eat for 15 days. Drink as much water as you like. Prana is made up of water, and the prana of one who drinks water is not cut off. Swataketu did not eat for 15 days. Then he approached him, saying, What shall I say? The father said, The Riks, the Yajus, and the Samans, dear boy, they do not at all arise in me, sir. The father said to him, Dear boy, just as a single ember of the size of fireplace left over from a large burning fire cannot burn any more than that, even so, dear boy, of your 16 parts only one part is left over. Now by means of that you cannot perceive the Vedas. Eat, then you will understand me. He ate and then approached his father. Whatever he asked him, he answered them all. The father said to him, Dear boy, just as when a single ember of the size of a firefly left over from a large burning fire is made to blaze up by adding straw and it burns much more than before, even so, dear boy, of your 16 parts only one part remained, and that being nourished by food has been made to blaze up, and by that you perceive the Vedas know. Hence, dear boy, the mind is made up of food, the prana is made up of water, and speech is made up of fire. From his words, Swataketu understood it. Yeah, he understood it. Once Uddalaka Aruni said to his son, Swataketu, dear boy, know from me the true nature of sleep. When a man is said to be sleeping, then, dear boy, he has become united with being and has attained his own nature. Hence people speak of him as sleeping. For them he was attained his own nature. Just as a bird tied to a string after flying in various directions and finding no resting place elsewhere, takes refuge at the very place where it is tied. Even so, dear boy, that mind after flying in various directions and finding no resting place elsewhere takes refuge in prana alone, for the mind, dear boy, is tied to prana. Dear boy, know from me the true nature of hunger and thirst. When a man is said to be hungry, then it is to be understood that water is leading away what has been eaten. Therefore, water may be designated as hunger. Just as people speak of the leader of cows, the leader of horses, and the leader of men, even so they speak of water as the leader of food. Hence, dear boy, know this shoot the body to be put forth by a root, for it cannot be without a root. Where could its root be apart from food? Even so, dear boy, with food as the shoot, look for water as the root. With water as the shoot, dear boy, look for fire as the root. With fire as the shoot, dear boy, look for being as the root. All these creatures, dear boy, have been as their root, have been as their abode, and have been as their support. Again, when a man is said to be thirsty, then it is to be understood that fire is leading away what has been drunk. Therefore, fire may be designated as thirst. Just as people speak of the leader of cows, the leader of horses, and the leader of men, even so they speak of that fire as the leader of water. Hence, dear boy, know this shoot, water, to be put forth by a root, for it cannot be without a root. Where could its root be apart from water? Dear boy, with water as the shoot, look for fire as the root. With fire as the shoot, look for being as the root. All these creatures, dear boy, have been as their root, have been as their abode, and have been as their support. How, dear boy, each of these three deities on reaching man becomes threefold has been explained to you earlier. When this man is about to depart, dear boy, his speech merges in the mind. Mind is prana. Prana is fire, and fire in the supreme deity. That being which is this subtle essence, cause, even that all this world has for itself. That is the true. That is the Atman. That thou art, O Svetakatu. Reverend sir, please explain it further to me. So be it, dear boy, said the father. As dear boy, the bee makes honey by collecting juices from different trees and reduce them into one essence, and there, as these juices have no such discrimination as I am the juice of this tree, I am the juice of that tree. Even so, dear boy, all these creatures having merged into being do not know we have merged into being. Whatever these creatures are here, tiger or lion or wolf or boar or worm or flying insect or glad fly or mosquito, that they become again. That being which is this subtle essence, even that all this world has for itself, that is the true, that is the Atman, that thou art, O Svetakatu. Reverend sir, please explain it further to me. So be it, dear boy, said the father. These eastern rivers, dear boy, flow along to the east, and the western ones to the west. They rise from the ocean and merge in the ocean and become that ocean itself. And there, as these rivers do not know themselves as I am this river, I am that river, even so, dear boy, all these creatures having come from being do not know we have come from being. And whatever these creatures were here, tiger or lion or wolf or boar or worm or flying insect or gladly or mosquito, that they become again. That being which is this subtle essence, even that all this world has for itself self, that is the true, that is the Atman, that thou art, O Svetakatu. Reverend sir, please explain it further to me. So be it, dear boy, said the father. Of this large tree, dear boy, if any one were to strike at the root, it would exhort up sap. Though still living, if any one were to strike in the middle, it would exhort up sap. Though still living, if any one were to strike at the top, it would exhort up sap. Though still living. As that tree is pervaded by the living self, it stands firm, drinking constantly and rejoicing. If the life leaves one branch of this tree, then that branch dries up. If it leaves the second one, then that dries up. It leaves the whole tree dries up. The father said, Dear boy, know that even so, being left by the living self, this body surely dies, but the living self does not die. That being which is this subtle essence, cause, even that all this world has for itself, that is the true, that is the Atman, that thou art, O Svetakatu. Reverend sir, please explain it further to me. So be it, dear boy, said the father. Bring a fruit from this banyan tree. Here it is, Reverend sir. Break it. It is broken, Reverend sir. What do you see in this? These seeds, small like particles, Reverend sir. Break one of these, my child. It is broken, Reverend sir. What do you see in it? Nothing, Reverend sir. The father said to him, Dear boy, this subtle essence which you do not perceive, growing from this subtle essence, the large banyan tree thus stands. Have faith, dear boy. That being which is this subtle essence, cause, even that all this world has for itself, that is the true, that is the Atman, that thou art, O Svetakatu. Reverend sir, please explain it further to me. So be it, dear boy, said the father. Put this salt into water and then come to me in the morning. He said so. The father said to him, Bring the salt, my child, which you put into water at night. Having searched for it, he did not find it, as it has completely dissolved. My child, take a sip from the top of this water. How is it? It is salt. Take a sip from the middle. How is it? It is salt. Take a sip from the bottom. How is it? It is salt. Throw this water away, and then come to me. He said so, and returned, saying, It is there always. The father said to him, Dear boy, as you do not see what is present in this water, though indeed it exists in it, similarly being exists indeed in this body. That being which is this subtle essence, cause even that all this world has for itself, that is the true, that is the Atman, that thou art, O Svetakatu. Revered sir, please explain it further to me. So be it, dear boy, said the father. Just as, dear boy, some robber having brought a man from the Gandhara region with his eyes bound up might leave him in a very desolate place, and just as that man would shout towards the east, or towards the north, or towards the south, or towards the west, saying, I have been brought here with my eyes bound up, I have been left here with my eyes bound up. And as someone might remove his bondage and tell him, the Gandhara region is in this direction, proceed in this direction, and as he, enquiring his way from village to village, and being instructed and capable of judging by himself, would reach the Gandhara region itself, even so in this world that person knows who has a preceptor, and for him only so long is the delay as he is not liberated from the body, and then immediately he is merged in being. That being which is this subtle essence, even that all this world has for itself, that is the true, that is the Atman, that thou art, O Svetakatu. Revered sir, please explain it further to me. So be it, dear boy, said the father. Dear boy, the relatives of a man who is ill assembled round him and ask, Do you recognize me? Do you recognize me? As long as his speech is not merged in the mind is prana, prana in fire, and fire is the supreme deity, so long does he know them. Then when his speech is merged in the mind in prana, prana in fire, and fire in the supreme deity, then he does not know them. That being which is this subtle essence, cause even that all this world has for itself, that is the true, that is the Atman, that thou art, O Svetakatu. Revered sir, please explain it further to me. So be it, dear boy, said the father. Dear boy, the officers of the king bring a man holding him by the hand, while say he has taken something, he has committed a theft, heat, or the axe for him. If he is doer of that, then he makes himself false, and being addicted to falsehood, he covers himself with falsehood and grasps the heated axe. He is burned, and then he is punished. If, however, he is not the doer of that, then he makes himself true, and being attached to truth, he covers himself with truth and grasps the heated axe. He is not burned, and then he is released. And as in the case he, the man attached to truth, is not burnt, similarly a man of knowledge is not born again. Thus has all this world that for itself, that is true, that is Atman, that thou art, O Svetakatu. From his words, Svetakatu understood that he understood.